What is black metal?
What is black metal? Well, it depends on what level you mean it. I suppose originally it's just a phrase coined by Venom, you know, to describe the music that they were playing, you know, in a kind of contradiction to heavy metal or power metal or glam metal or whatever, you know. What it turned into, I suppose, is something different. And what black metal would mean to me would be metal with a satanic, arcane, spiritually arcane outlook, you know, sort of occult emphasis, you know. I don't think the music, at least, doesn't have any sonic definition other than that it should be metal. But the black should be, you know, expressed in the philosophy, spirituality, or just general attitude, you know.
If you don't do any name droppings, what is black metal then?
If you don't name drop?
Yeah, if you don't mention any names, then you have to say this is black metal without naming any names.
Well, I suppose it would be, as I said, a satanic, occult or arcane life philosophy connected to a musical, sonic definition that's metal, you know, I suppose, without... It's hard to mention exactly what it is. It doesn't exist in a vacuum, you know, it has references. So.
And it does develop?
I don't know if it does develop. I would never... For me, the original blueprint of black metal, whether, like I said, for me it has no sonic definition. A lot of people who came along into black metal in the 1990s, when they heard a band who didn't sound like Darkthrone, think, oh, that can't be black metal, but I mean, it can be Mortuary Drape or Mystifier or Blasphemy, or it's, you know, in the late 80s, early 90s, during that second wave, it came from many other countries, and more so than Norway. There was more black metal bands from Greece in 1991 than there was in Norway, and I think a lot of people just maybe focus on that a bit too much. But I mean, okay, where you would draw the line in between what's actually meant and what's actually theatre are two different things, because if you've got I suppose, being into heavy metal, which is a theatrical or fantastical form of music, you've got to realise that not everybody maybe who has made black metal is a Satanist or whatever you want to call that. But I think the original blueprint was, you know, that second wave, when people actually began to marry some form of at least some sort of pitch at occult learning to some sort of music, was that's at least how I would define it, you know. The first wave, I mean, you Merciful Fate and Hellhammer and Venom and stuff, I mean, they're the first bands who called themselves that as well, Sodom and stuff, you know, within the Sign of Evil. And I think that was just maybe an attempt to ratchet up the extremity beyond anything that was happening at the time, you know, and youthful enthusiasm and stuff, which is, again, a very big part of what heavy metal is, you know. So.
It's a bit strange, at least in my opinion, that the way people kind of wrote about taking a walk in the park or in the forest, to be more precise. I call it black metal just because the guitars were badly produced, or they didn't produce it even, they just recorded it.
Yeah.
Wicked.
But this is, I mean, bands from the 80s generally did the best they could with what they were able to play with their instruments. They weren't trying to have shit production. I mean, I think the drum sound on In the Sign of Evil is incredible.
Yeah.
You know, Venom weren't... I don't think Venom sounds like shit. I think to somebody who didn't grow up with that music, maybe they listen to it now and they're used to Pro Tools production, they go, oh, all these bands sound like shit. But I think, yeah, you think you're right. I think too many people romanticized about what black metal was, whereas black metal was always, for me, like a fist in the face. It wasn't fucking, you know, feeling melancholic and taking a Sunday walk in the mountains or something. That's for me not what black metal was. Black metal was more about, you know, violence and aggression, and it was about a sort of 20th century focus and understanding of sort of some sort of satanic elitist principle or something. It wasn't, in a social context, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't about, as I said, the sort of romanticized, fantastical emotions you got when you were strolling in the forest. It was more like holding a fucking shotgun, you know. At least that's what it was, how I would have perceived it. You know?
Yeah, because I think it's strange the way that it's born from the Western civilization where people mostly have a good time. They can get food. They don't have to really struggle. Of course, you have to struggle to get a better TV or a better car or sunglasses, whatever. But the real struggles, I mean, go to Iraq.
Well, yeah, but I mean, sure, but don't forget that, I mean, there was an awful lot of bands that were playing what could be people perceive as black metal behind the Iron Curtain in the 80s. There were bands, I mean, Greece in 1989 was just like Ireland, like when you know, in that 1989, 1991 was more like a second world country like Ireland was, you know. We had no access to proper instruments, or, you know, you couldn't afford amps, and we played on shit with old Primordial stuff. I mean, in South America, you have all these bands from the 80s, Sarcophago and Holocausto and stuff, and they're, you know, a lot of people are just, I think, too concentrated on what happened in Scandinavia, when in fact, there were bands from everywhere. I mean, there were bands from Malaysia, there were bands from Singapore, and there were Russian bands, you know. But it all came together around that late 80s, early 90s as some sort of global phenomenon, like a sort of cultural zeitgeist, a groundswell movement of people who were just so sick of the overground metal, death metal, thrash metal, mainstream, MTV culture, almost sellout, who just wanted to bring back metal to the ugly, knuckle-dragging, primeval state, and that's very much what I would have subscribed to. Now, whether every single one of those people would have had any great, I should say, philosophical, esoteric leanings is open to question. Some did, some didn't. But sometimes you need the grim, primeval cliches. You need the fist in the face. You need blasphemy going, fuck you. You know, that, to me, that was as black metal as somebody quoting Baudelaire or Sartre or whatever you want. You know? Some people just chose to take the really brutal route, you know.